my big mic here. Bear with me. So I appreciate it. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. I don't want to prolong this. You know, this webinar is going to be about 30 to 35 minutes from start, and then we'll do about a 10 to 15 minute Q&A where you guys can ask me any questions that you have. You know, most likely around marketing or things to help your digital shopping experience here, which I'll get into now. But let's go ahead and get started. So I appreciate everybody joining today. I know everybody's busy. I'm John Corin, one of the co-founders and CEO of XILO, and I'm bringing to you 4 simple steps that your agency can take to convert more website visitors into leads by enhancing your digital shopping experience. Prior to this, I was a software engineer and product manager, and so I worked with a lot of different software platforms, you know, from coding to automation, you name it. I also did a little bit of marketing and technology at A to Z Insurance. I also have prior experience with Facebook ads and email campaigns with different e-commerce brands. So I've got kind of the full stack of digital experiences here. And so everything that I'm discussing with you today is from things that I've learned in the past about these types of marketing implementations, and then actually got to pursue that when we were doing marketing and technology for A to Z Insurance. This is brought to you by XILO. So XILO is a forms platform for insurance agencies that helps them engage more with the insured, helps integrate their systems and automate their processes. And so if you have time after the webinar, please check out XILO. So one thing I think we can agree upon, everybody on this webinar, you joined for a certain reason, but the insurance industry is changing. As of 2018, 3 out of 4 insurance shoppers started their journey online. That means that before they approached an agent in person on the call, they actually went onto their computer, did some sort of review or research or price comparison, price shopping. Along with that, millennials are now the new buying power. So that has shifted to millennials, and they're expected to spend 1.4 trillion in 2020. And so what's happening is the expectations for some sort of digital presence is becoming higher. And consumers like millennials are expecting agents, anybody, doesn't matter if you're mom and pop or a software company like XILO, they're expecting you to be online and to kind of have a high standard of a digital presence there. And so agents, because the industry is changing, agents are trying new things, but there's a lot of things that you could try. And so it's hard to figure out where you want to start. You could build a better website, redesign it, try to match consumer expectations on the front-facing website. You could run Facebook ads. I used to do Facebook ads, so there's a lot of strategy that goes into it. There are different tiers that you could implement of expertise in Facebook ads. You could add a CRM into the mix, try to make yourself a little more efficient, organize new business a little bit better, automate some follow-up to that new business. And you can also run email campaigns. And those email campaigns could be for existing business, people who didn't renew, whatever it might be. All these are facets of marketing, and all in their own are complicated processes to get into. And so in order to make things easier for you guys to actually deliver you some value on this webinar, I wanted to focus on the digital shopping experience. What is a digital shopping experience? This is the experience that you provide to your prospects when they go to your website to shop for insurance. So this isn't just one segment of the website. It's not like just a website redesign. It's the experience that the customer has when they land on your website to the moment they actually go to buy. And here's an example of a funnel that represents the digital shopping experience. So you have step 1, the prospect clicks into your website. This could be for whatever reason. You sent them an email, they found you on a Google review, whatever it might be. Then when they go to your website, a lot of customers who are shopping, the first thing they'll look for is some sort of way to interact with you. Some may call your phone number, and that's good. You get a direct call from the customer. Others, a lot of others now, because of the reasons we discussed prior, will try to find and click into some sort of form. If they're going to some of these digital insurers that are rising up from the crops, they're going to go to a form that's going to provide them some sort of instant rate. And so their minds are starting to fixate on that type of experience. But regardless, when they're on your website, they're trying to find and click into some form. They submit that form info, so it doesn't stop when their experience doesn't stop when they actually give you the information. It actually then goes to the agent, right? And we know the agent then has to enter that into a rater if it's personal lines, or maybe in a court form or supplemental if it's commercial. And once that information is processed, you can finally reach out to the customer and respond to them and try to move them forward in the process. And hopefully you responded a little bit sooner, but in general, you can't move them forward until you've gone at least through that funnel. And so what is wrong with the current shopping experience today that I've seen with a lot of different agencies? Why isn't your current shopping experience generating new business? One reason could be bad traffic. And so we've seen people who have had 2,000 to 3,000 hits on their website a month, but it's actually due to advertisements that were coming from people who had no interest in shopping for insurance. They might not even been in the country, or a state that they could sell insurance in. And so one source you could look at is bad traffic. Another source that you can look at is misleading website content. So if your customer comes on and they don't feel like they're on an insurance website, proceeding to shop for insurance, that's something that could deter them, that could steer them away. Another one is unclear call to actions. And so we'll discuss a little more about call to actions further into the webinar here. But if you don't have a great call to action, you are less likely to convert that customer to the next step, which is getting into the form and then submitting that form. So that's another issue, common problem with digital shopping experiences or websites today. And then the last one, slow response times. So we have some metrics here that I'm going to show you further into the webinar, but the slower you respond, the less likely you are to convert that customer. So you have to engage with that customer in order to eliminate that issue. And so that brings us to the, the premise of the webinar, the entire reason why you guys are here: 4 ways to enhance your digital shopping experience. And so all these things kind of follow that funnel that I was telling you about, from the moment they click into your website to the moment you actually move that opportunity to buy, you buy in the policy. You have this entire experience that you're going over. Here are 4 ways where you can enhance that experience. One is provide clear call to actions on your website. We'll discuss all these in depth, moving forward. 2 is replace your contact forms with multi-step quoting experiences. And so we'll show you what that looks like as well. 3, provide estimated insurance rates on your platform. And so a lot of these digital insurance companies are providing instantaneous rates on their front-facing websites. And so customers are getting really fixated on that. Now, there are some complications with doing number 3, and so we'll get into that a little bit later. 4, automate follow-up and respond with a real rate quickly. So you want to make sure as soon as they submit information, you're on it, and then you're quickly returning the rate to them. I think I might have lost myself in the webinar here. Okay, anyways, perfect. Let me just make sure I don't have any questions. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let's start with clear call to action. So imagine you're on your website, right? And we'll go over a few websites to show this in more detail. Imagine you land on a website and you're trying to buy insurance, and you want to at least shop the price of insurance when you get to the website. Now, that might not be ideal for everybody. Some people might have more standard lines they're looking for, but just bear with me in this example. You get to the website and you're looking for some sort of button to submit your information, because you think that in a modern 2020 platform, your experience should be you submit information, it returns you a rate, and you decide if you want it or not. And so when you get to that website, that button is called a call to action. There are primary and secondary call to actions. The primary call to actions is what you as an agency desire your customer to do. For XILO, on our website, it's schedule a demo. And so if you go to our website, you'll see that we have a couple of buttons that all read exactly the same. They're exactly the same contrasting color, and they read schedule a demo. And so that while you're browsing and looking for more information, you then have the ability to quickly get back to what our desired call to action is, which is schedule a demo. For agencies, it might be more like get a quote now, or request a quote, or contact an agent, whatever it might be. whatever your desired call to action is, it needs to be strong. It not only needs to be strong, but it has to be consistent and clear. And a good stat on this is that more than 90% of your visitors who read your headline, which is the initial text that you have at the top of your page here. Oh, okay. More than 90% of your visitors who read your headline will also read your call to action. And so that means that this is the first interaction they have with your website. Another statistic, which we don't show on here, is that those who put their call to actions above the fold, which is the first view on the website that you get when someone opens your website. So let's say, in the top here, you have a nice header and then you have a call to action. If you can see that on the initial page load before they scroll, it's also significantly more likely that they'll convert. So that's another statistic there. But here are some tips on a great call to action. You're going to want to make sure you place these 2 or 3 times in your website, on the front facing page and on other pages as well. You want to use strong command words like get, download, try. These are action verbs. You definitely want to make sure you do that because it encourages those who are coming to your website to take some sort of action. Right here on the right, we have the desired action is to get a free quote. And so when someone comes on, they're shopping for insurance and they're looking for that is a call to action that they can use, that you can use, that will really encourage them to proceed further into whatever funnel that you have set up for them. You want to present a unique selling proposition for that customer. So you want to make sure that it's tailored to what you're trying to do. Like, for example, if let's say it wasn't get a free quote, let's say you were doing some sort of marketing campaign where you had them download an ebook first, and then from there you put them into an email campaign by collecting their email. You might have the call to action say something along the lines of, let's see, got a chat here really quick. Yes, Melissa, sorry, this is recorded for the future. You might have some sort of call to action, pardon me. You might have some sort of call to action for the ebook that says something along the lines of download your free ebook. Because in this case, we're not trying to get them to get a quote, we're trying to move them forward in our funnel. And then when they download the ebook, you then ask them for their email to send them the ebook. And so that is an example of using unique selling propositions in strong command words. And then the third point for creating a good call to action is urgency. It's just like in sales, it's no different. In sales, you want to make sure you create urgency so that way they are encouraged to move forward. There is no delay in your sales process. It's no different in marketing. So that's why we say things like get a free quote now. Now it's not exactly as persuasive as if you were adding urgency in sales, but in marketing, it's actually more subconscious for the user. And so, pardon me, get a free quote now actually is more likely to move them forward than just get a free quote. The final piece is limit your call to actions. You don't want to overwhelm the user with 5 to 10 different call to actions. You typically want to have get a free quote now or something along the lines, whatever your call to action is, 2 to 3 times across your web page. You want that to be in a contrasting color and you want it to say the same thing every time. Repetition and clarity is the key to success when it comes to these call to actions. And so let's imagine I go to your website and I go to the top of the page and I see get a free quote now. Maybe I'm not ready to click that just yet. I scroll down and I see, oh wow, they have 50 5-star reviews and it's just cycling through the reviews. And all of a sudden I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to get a free quote. There might be another button right below the reviews that says get a free quote now. And so I know as quickly as possible and as clearly as possible as an insurance shopper that I can click that button and safely get to where I originally wanted to go. And so that's kind of like the psychology behind why you want to make them clear, consistent, and also why you want to limit it. You don't want to overwhelm them. Now you also can add 2 secondary or 3 secondary call to actions. This is kind of going off the example I had before to review the reviews. Some clients might want to see that you're a local agent. And so you want to be able to show them, read more about us now, or you actually don't have to put the urgency in the secondaries, but you do want it to still kind of be directive and you want it to be an action. And so you could say something along the lines of learn more about our agency or something of that nature. But this doesn't take them to where you desire them to go, which is to submit the quoting information. But what it does do is it takes them further down the funnel. And so they may go learn more about you. And then when they go to that About Us page, they then are hit with more get a free quotes now. And so as you can see, it's a working funnel here. But to kind of end this note, a clear call to action allows you to further direct your customers into exactly where you want to go. And it's proven that these clear call to actions will convert more business for you. The second item, providing a quoting experience, I want to explain a little bit further about what that means. And so quoting experience is something that we kind of have, named here at XILO. But basically, it's a modern version of an insurance quote request form that insurance shoppers expect in 2020. And so if you're familiar with Lemonade from Renters Insurance, you might say that their quoting experience is that kind of chat person that they have that comes up and it guides you through shopping for renters insurance. And for insurance agencies, for any agency here, it could be a variable amount of things. It could be a contact form, it could be a long and multi-step form, or it could be a true quoting experience, kind of like what Lemonade provides. I'll show you a little more about that in a second here. But so we've researched this heavily, and the problem with contact forms is that they have such a low conversion rate in comparison to other forms in 2020. Basically, the call to action would be something like along the lines of request a quote or contact us. And so someone clicks that and they get to a contact us field or form like this right here. The problem with this, although they're short, right? Short is good. We learned that in marketing. The shorter you can get it, the better. The problem is that the shoppers are associating that with spam. What happens when I put in my name and email here? Am I just going to get spammed? Is an agent going to call me 100 times? Is this one of those websites where they collect leads and they sell them to multiple agents and then I get contacted multiple times? And because the shoppers are starting to associate that with spams, the conversion rates on these kinds of forms are significantly less than longer forms. And so that brings me to the longer forms here. And I apologize, I know this isn't a great image, but you kind of get the idea behind this. This is actually a commercial-based form, probably for the Accord 125. They convert at a higher rate because the customer, as they're filling it out, now there's obviously there's a warm zone of how long it can be. You don't want to make it too long to the point where they get bored and leave. But if you make it just long enough, it will convert higher because they have the feeling that this is actually going to move them through the process quicker. Now, some problems with these forms, if you look at the experience behind it, it's kind of dry and it's hard to move forward in. It's not engaging with the users themselves. They want something that's quick, painless, and fun. Another problem is they have to fill out every single question. And so if you need to ask for, the client's name and driver one, they're filling that in twice. And so that becomes problematic for them because it does elongate the form for them. And so we found that long forms or even multi-step forms, which are long forms, are converting at a higher rate, but they're not as engaging with the shoppers and they are not as great as experiences you could provide on filling out that form. And so then that's where we brought in XILO, right? So this is a quoting experience. We try to emulate the Lemonades in the world and give it to the insurance agency. We found that these convert at significantly higher rates. Now, this is all depending on your traffic, right? It's all depending on your traffic, but you provide a great insurance shopping experience. It's multi-step, but it's engaging. You provide icons that are specific to insurance. It helps them kind of intuitively understand where everything's at. And then you also provide one-click options like male, female, marital status, all of those things, so that even if they're on a mobile device or on a desktop, they can just click through and get through it quickly. Another good thing about a quoting experience is that you're auto-filling as much information as possible. So you guys might have seen this happen on other, digital insurance websites, or you definitely see them on your raters and on your carriers, but none of your front-facing technology. And so you want to autofill things like property information for home lines or driver or birthday information on that side. And that way you can get them through your experience a little bit quicker. So you're collecting as much information as possible, which is a huge benefit to your agency. You guys can move quicker on your side, but they feel like this is going to actually end with a good result for them. It's going to actually end with them getting a price. And that brings me to my third point, estimated insurance rates. So estimated insurance rates, the technology is not there yet where front-facing estimated insurance rates can be super accurate. One thing that kind of challenges that, and actually, you know what, I'll get into the challenges in a second. I have a whole entire slide on it. But the benefit of providing an estimated insurance rate is that you are providing value to that customer for taking the time to fill out your form. Just give me a second here. And so I'll answer questions at the end. So I apologize if I'm missing your chat or Q&As. So basically, when a customer is going through your form, and this might be more so on the personal line side, they have some sort of expectation to get some sort of rate. 95% of agencies aren't providing some sort of estimated quote on their website. I think this will change in the future. I think that clients will be able to go through that, but there are some challenges to it, right? For one, it doesn't generate MVR reports. That's going to be difficult to do because the agent gets charged for that. For two, you don't want to bait and switch. And so if you provide an estimated rate, you really want it to be general. You don't want it to be guaranteed or have like a buy now button or anything like that. This is what shoppers are looking for. And so it's good to provide them with some sort of estimation based off of what you know that your agency can do. And so at XILO, we do have, an estimated quote portion of the platform where you can kind of calculate very generic general rates to guide them and to give an idea of what they would pay, but it's not meant to be an accurate rate. And it's well known when you get to that page that it's supposed to be like that. But that's one benefit. Out of the three, out of the four, this is probably the one you'll less likely do, just because it's, like I said, the technology isn't there just yet. But it would be a benefit to add this. It does enhance your digital shopping experience, and I wanted to make sure that I go over everything on that. The fourth and final one, which is definitely a quick win for most agencies, automate your follow-up and respond quickly. And so here's a survey that was done by Velocify, and they handle kind of text and email automation for Salesforce, I believe, or something of that nature. And they found that those who called within 1 hour after some sort of online inquiry had a 34% increase in their conversion rate. So they were 34% more likely to convert that online inquiry. Those that responded within 2 minutes were 120% more likely to convert that online inquiry. And then those that responded within 1 minute were 391% more likely to convert that online inquiry. And so what this means is that you, as soon as a customer comes in, whether it's on hours, after hours, whatever it might be, you're going to want to respond as quickly as possible. Now you can't, if it's after hours, you can't possibly respond authentically. And so that's where you have to create different sequences and put people through different funnels where you know that you're interacting with them. There's a couple things that you can do. One, quick and easy one, automate an email after the form submissions. After they've gone from being a prospect to submitting data, they're now a lead. You want to automate some sort of email to that lead. Thank you for quoting with XYZ. We will get back to you as soon as possible, right? Here's our number. You can call us if you have any questions. That's an example. And so a lot of different platforms will do that. Whomever you're collecting information from, even if it's just a WordPress site, there's typically some integration to do some sort of automated email. You don't want to just notify the insured. You need to notify your agents. So I'd recommend having some sort of process for how agents pick up online inquiries or quote requests. But in general, you want to make sure that your agents are notified, because if it is during business hours, that means an agent who is free or open has the ability to respond as quickly as possible to that online quote request, right? And that brings us into responding quickly and how much higher that can convert, or how much higher you can make your conversion rates just by responding as quickly as possible. And so the automated email goes out, the agent gets the online quote request, and they quickly then try to generate the insurance rate, and they get back to the customers as soon as possible. The third one, which kind of assists what I was just talking about, is you want to integrate that data as much as possible as you can into your raters, your management systems, your CRMs, your records and supplementals. Whatever can get you to that customer with a real rate, or get them to the next step in that interaction with the agent as quickly as possible, is going to help you win the game. And so XILO does integrate into different systems like this, and there are other systems I know out there, and I'm not going to mention any, but that do have integrations with different systems like this. But you want to make sure that when you are putting some sort of quoting experience on your website to enhance your digital shopping experience, if you can, integrate that into your existing systems. It's going to make you faster, and the faster you are, the more likely you are to convert that client. Prospective client. And then finally, this is more of a process-oriented thing, but it also takes software to help you through this. You're going to want to you're going to want to create some sort of follow-up sequence. So being quick is about having technology to help you respond quickly, but it's also about being organized, right? And so if you have some sort of follow-up sequence from some sort of system that you're using, you then have the ability to keep responding to that customer quickly as they move down the funnel, whether they're not interested, closed lost, or they end up binding the policy, closed won. Either way, you don't want to have to think about at all times where that customer or prospective customer is in the process, so that you can be diligent and respond quickly at every step. And then sometimes you can also automate parts of those sequences, a lot of times actually, and so that you're continually engaging with that customer, which is going to help you follow up with them and respond quickly there. So to summarize, we've discussed 4 ways to enhance your digital shopping experience. I want to tell you about an agency that we work with, A to Z Insurance, and how they've implemented all those things. Now they did end up adding XILO onto their platform, but that wasn't the bulk of what helped them go from where they were in 2017 to where they're at now in 2020. And so I want to discuss kind of the full scope of what they did in order to better their shopping experience. And so in 2017, this is kind of the front-facing website that A to Z Insurance had. Now, it follows some of the same schematics that we talked about that are kind of the negatives of shopping experience, right? You see multiple call to actions here. The one strong one, which is in the contrasting colors, says visit our blog down there at the bottom right, as opposed to some sort of like get a quote. You do have apply for an online quote here, but it doesn't really look like a button. And it's a hard experience to navigate through. And so I can imagine what was happening from an insurance shopping perspective is that people were going to the website and they were either just calling in because that was the stronger call to action there, or they weren't moving forward whatsoever. And so in 2017, A to Z was, I can't remember what it was fully, but they were generating about 20 quote requests a month. And so people were submitting that, less than 20 times a month. And so what did A to Z do? They redesigned their digital shopping experience to unclog some of those funnels. They redesigned their website. They replaced their contact forms with quoting experiences. They did add estimated quotes, and they implemented automatic notifications and a process for follow-up. And so here's the new redesigned website that A to Z had added. And as you can see, it's still A to Z Insurance in the top left, but there are strong call to actions right here. Get a car insurance quote now. And it's very clear what A to Z Insurance does. Get a free insurance quote, affordable insurance in Delaware, Maryland, and PA. So they added a lot of clarity. They added a lot of good call to actions. They also have some secondary call to actions, as you can see here. Help me with my policy now. And so although this isn't the desired call to action for a majority of your website visitors, this is one for their current clients, where the current clients can still easily find that information. And then if you scroll down, there are also some secondary call to actions like learn more about us or something of that nature that moves people down the funnel. And so they did a complete website redesign. And so that in itself was a huge help to unclog many pieces of the funnel. And then the second thing that they did was they replaced their contact form with the quoting experience. And so here A to Z Insurance has a XILO form implemented. This is one of the one-click options where if a customer is on a desktop or a mobile device, they don't have to kind of click into a drop-down or type in an answer. They just click and move forward. And so this experience helped A to Z Insurance by removing the contact form, allows them to collect as much information as possible so that they can also respond as quickly as possible with an actual rate for that client. And this form was more engaging with the customer than the contact form itself. They did add estimated quotes to their website. This is obviously not A to Z Insurance. This is the same picture from last time, but and I apologize for that. I should have put the agency insurance one here, but they created rough estimates based off of different quoting variables. Does this person have any accidents? Things like that will end up fluctuating the rate. They provided it instantly after the quote was submitted, or the quote request was submitted, so that the client got some sort of estimation of what their policy would be. This is based off of their carriers, obviously, and what they're working with. And they gave different plans. Also, one thing you want to show them is what kind of coverages they can get. And so if they click into what's included, it can drop down and show them the different coverages there. And the final piece is they implemented automatic notifications and process for follow-up. And so after every quote request, the prospective customer, the lead now, was getting an auto email sent out to them that, thank you for your time, whatever the email says, but it was automatically sent as soon as they were finished with that request. The agent was then also notified of that lead. And so it gives the agents the ability to respond as quickly as possible. The lead information was integrated into Applied Rater and QQ Catalyst. And so that way their agents can respond, like I said, as quickly as possible with an actual rate. And then also they now have an organized kind of CRM system where they can move leads through stages on their dashboard to stay organized. And so that way they know at all times what are the notes on these leads, what stages are they at? Are they not interested? Are they in the quoting stage? Whatever it might be, they've got a process for this whole thing. So this is the part where I said you got to create a process for that follow-up. And so all in all, they went from generating less than 20 leads a month. They're now doing over 120 a month. And so A to Z Insurance was really able to unclog their funnels by redesigning their website, implementing a quoting experience and estimations, and then automatically following up to that clientele. The one thing I want to add, I don't want to confuse marketing with magic. So building a new website doesn't always guarantee you're going to triple your leads, or 6x in A to Z's case. Adding XILO will not guarantee you triple your leads. These things will definitely help you depending on what kind of traffic you have going to your business. So in the case that I said in the beginning of the webinar, where we've seen agencies that have 2,000 to 3,000 visitors coming in, and those visitors were completely uninterested in insurance. It was just a bad advertisement campaign. It doesn't matter what you do, they're not going to be interested. And so usually, the top of the funnel that you need to unclog could be where you're getting your traffic. But if it's organic traffic and you're an insurance agency, typically that traffic will be good. And you should figure out how to enhance your digital shopping experience in order to better that. And then marketing is about doing the little things. It's just like sales. When you create your sales process, you have to create your funnel. And you figure out at every stage of the funnel, how do I improve this part to move people down a little bit further? Marketing is the same exact way. And so when you're getting into this, you want to make sure that you actually take some time, not all your time because you're busy running an agency, but you want to take some time to improve different steps of the funnel so that you can unclog some of those clogs in your funnel to move people down using clarity, call to actions, everything that we just talked about. So in conclusions, as I said, the industry is changing. Agencies are expected to provide a better shopping experience. If you're not seeing results, you may have clogs. It could be top of the funnel, or it could be during the funnel. You could have clogs in your website. You could have clogs in your quoting experience, whatever it might be. And so here are 4 steps that you can try to unclog them. Clear call to actions, replace your contact forms with multi-step quoting experiences, provide estimated insurance rates, and automate follow-up as quickly as possible, and then respond with the real rate as quickly as possible. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to go now do Q&A for 10 to 15 minutes, however long it takes. And as I said before, I'm John Corrin. I'm the CEO and co-founder at XILO. And you can feel free to reach out to me at john@xilo.io. And to answer a question from previous inquiry, yes, this is recorded, and I will definitely be sending this out to anybody who requests it. So go ahead and contact me at john@xilo.io, and I'll make sure to send that out. Okay, let's get started with some Q&A here. So let me see here. Do you have an integral? We got John here says, does this autofill information on their computers? So yes. So XILO's quoting experience, and there might be others out there that do this, but I haven't seen it. We do autofill some personal information. You can do name based off email, phone number, things like that, as well as a lot of home property information. So if you fill in a property address, There's a lot that can be filled in. There are a lot of databases out there with home information, and we collect from that. And then you also asked, do you have an API integration with Hawksoft, one way or two way? We have a push to Hawksoft. XILO has a push to Hawksoft, but we don't have a pull. So it's just a one-way integration with Hawksoft. Raymond asked if we build websites. We don't build websites. I apologize for that. One thing I want to make clear is XILO is a software company. We're not a marketing company. The forms are, imagine you're building a Google form or a type form. It's the same exact type of interaction. And so we don't do marketing, but XILO is a platform that is built to assist you guys in that way. Pricing, so XILO, it just depends on what you're getting into. If you're getting deep into Accords and automation, it could be upwards of $300, but typically we start out around $99 a month. Let's see here. Okay, so if anyone has any Q&A, we've got a couple questions here. Are you working on integration with Hawksoft? I just got another one. Yep, so Charles, I think we answered that earlier, but we do have an integration with Hawksoft. It's just a push to the Hawksoft system. Let's see here. Okay, let's see, we got another question from Carl. Principal agents. It's interesting, Carl, that you asked that for individual producers versus principal agents. Yes, so we are working on like a segmented plan that's going to be a little more isolated, I should say. And so I won't get into deep details in that, but Carl, yeah, just know the answer to your question. Are there any plans on making forms available to individual producers versus principal agents? Just say yes. Okay. What other questions do you guys have? I'm an open book if anyone has questions. How does this work with commercial leads versus personal lines? Second, can this flow to different agents? Yeah, so typically on the personal line side, it's pretty straightforward. It follows exactly what you've seen during this webinar. On the commercial line side, the big value or what you want to really change is how quickly you can get to market, right? It's how fast can you get their information onto an Accord or a supplemental application and then to your carrier. And so it follows a different path slightly, but it's still about being quick to respond or quick to interact. And so with XILO, we have a completely dynamic PDF integration. You can integrate all the quote information onto any Accord, any supplemental. And so that helps you move to market quicker. So you can kind of block the market. But that's how it works for the commercial side. And then, can this flow to different agents? Yes, of course. So each form you build on the XILO platform is there are all these different notification strategies that you can create. You can have different ones go to different agents. You can default ones to different agents. Agents can also send out links where they're the only ones who are notified. Do you know what percentage converts to new business? I'm not entirely positive, Justin, what percentage converts to new business. I will say this, out of the 75% of people who shop online for insurance, those who go to a digital insurer like Lemonade and companies like that are converting significantly less to actual new business than a traditional insurance agency. So independent agencies are still killing the market. Go independent agencies. They close more deals, obviously, than these digital insurers. So I'm not positive on the number of how many people are converting online, but I will say that, in the future, agencies who do have online presences and agencies who are great at marketing are going to be, they're going to start winning more clientele. So that's something that you want to work on, because I already know of a lot of agencies that are already working on that. What are the capabilities of linking XILO to another rater? So for right now, XILO, let's say, for example, into EasyLinks or PL, it's just a push into the different systems. So XILO is a push. So let's say you have a quote submission that comes in, or sorry, a quote request. XILO then pushes that data in, so it saves you that time in entering data. It helps you basically get to that customer faster, right? Because that's what you want to do. The quicker you can get back to that customer, that quote request with an actual rate that they can run with, the better you're going to be off. Carl, yes, we know of Broker Buddha. So Broker Buddha is a competitor of XILO, but definitely someone you should check out. And although this is a webinar with someone by XILO, I encourage you to check out everybody out there. These principles can be taken and implemented. Any technology that will allow you to provide a quoting experience, follow up automatically, and integrate data into the systems that you need to get into. Yes. So John, you asked about a website designer Yes, if, you know, during this experience of trying to enhance your digital shopping experience, it's not about just adding XILO. You know, this isn't a sell to just add XILO and all of a sudden, boom, you're great. It's in general, you got to work on the funnel. You got to make sure that your website has clear call to actions, that it's designed well and it's modern. You got to make sure that you're able to communicate with your customer instantly. You got to really work them down the funnel. And if you're a newer agency, you don't have a lot of organic traffic come through. You got to figure out how to create good paid traffic. So there's many things that you're going to have to do in the funnel to become more of an automated agency, to become an agency that has marketing as a focus. So XILO is one of those things where you can add it and we'll handle the quoting experience, but you're still going to need to do those other things. Oh yeah, Raymond. Yeah. So, you know, XILO embeds onto any website. It's just an easy kind of script that you plug in. Imagine anything else that you've seen plug into a website. So just to clarify, he says, will you work with the website company? Yeah, of course. Well, you know, we have a script that they can use to embed it. Let's see. Samantha says, how many personal insurance forms other than auto does XILO have? Also, are you going to expand into other sections of insurance, such as events connect? So XILO, you know, one thing to mention about XILO is like Google Forms or Typeform. We have templates for all kinds of personal lines business, motorcycle, RV, toys in general, auto, obviously, home, umbrella. There are templates for those types of things, but you can realistically build any form on XILO and give them the same experience. And so XILO has a drag and drop builder, allows you to build anything that you want. You can choose from existing icons that all emulate what the insurance industry provides, or you can upload your own icons. And then you can get that information to your existing systems any way that you need, or you can just have a PDF and put it into your agency management system, whatever you want to do. And so, although those are the different templates that we have, and I'm sure I'm missing some on the personal line side, XILO, you know, does give you the ability to build any form that you want. And that would include things like events as well. And then Matthew, to answer on cost, you know, I think I got on this before, but it's anywhere from 99 to 300. It just depends on what you're doing. Are you getting the bare bones forms, or are you integrating into Easy Links and HawkSoft? Are you integrating into Accords and supplementals? It just depends on what your goals are. Perfect. Okay. So we've got about, you know, I can hang around for as long as you guys need, but we've got about 3 to 8 minutes before the webinar closes. Are there any other questions that I can answer? Let me go ahead and look into the chat here to see if there are any other pieces of information. Okay. All right, I'll give it one more or 2 more minutes, allow people to kind of think about their questions and type it out. And then we'll see if anybody has any more questions. There we go. Okay, well, oh, wait, looks like one just popped up here. Very nice, a lot of commercial. For John, do you have a lot of commercial? We do. About 30% of our agencies are more predominantly commercial. A majority of the agencies will have a mix. They'll do personal lines and commercial. And as you know, with the independent agencies, everyone is a mix of different products. It depends on how you want to build your business. But 70% of our clientele use it predominantly for personal lines. But then there is that 30% that use it for commercial. So Melissa, I will send you this recording after. So if you can email me at john@xilo.io, and anybody else, if you email me at john@xilo.io, I will be sending you this recording directly. It might actually, I'm not entirely sure about this. It might actually send it to you automatically after the call. Not entirely sure about that. If it doesn't, please email me and I'll definitely reach out to you and send you the recording as soon as it downloads to my computer. Perfect. Okay. Any last questions? Let's see. Okay. I got your email, Melissa. I will definitely be sending you the recording. Okay. Perfect. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close up shop here. Again, I appreciate everybody. Just make sure there are no chats here. Perfect. Looks like we got all the chats answered. John, I will send it to you as well. But I appreciate everybody. I appreciate your time. I really do. I'm hoping this was very insightful for you guys. You know, prior to this, like I said, I was in marketing, I was in software engineering, product management. So I know a little bit about the digital world. And so I can be helpful. If I can be helpful in any way, please let me know. Even if it's providing some advice on different things. So feel free to reach out to me. But I'm gonna call it a day. And also I'd like to give a shout out to Hawksoft. Thank you. Sorry about this, Amelia. I should have done this earlier. Thank you, Hawksoft, for doing this, for setting this up with us. I really appreciate it. You know, we partner with Hawksoft. They've been an amazing partner. They're an amazing company, so we're always happy to work with them. And we're also looking forward to the Hawksoft conference next year. All right, guys. Everybody enjoy the rest of your days. I will email everybody who has reached out, and we will, you know, be speaking in the future.